The Penguins have found a hidden gem, as we have news regarding first-round pick Will Horcoff and how its development will cause huge implications on the team going forward, and this has Penguins fans absolutely fired up. Hello everyone, welcome back to Penguins Digest. My name is Nikash Ganguli. Hope you guys are enjoying this video whenever you are watching it or listening to it. We have some cool news regarding Penguins first-round pick Will Horcoff, who was taken late in the first round in the most recent NHL draft, and how his development has been going, and how molding him into the right player will be hugely important for the Penguins as they enter this new era of Pittsburgh hockey. But before we get into that and more, make sure you guys do, of course, subscribe to the channel. We are currently at 67% of viewers who are not subscribed. We're trying to get close to 3,000 subs or 2,500 subs on the channel. So if you're loving our content throughout the off-season, make sure you guys do hit the subscribe button. There hasn't been too much news, but we are finding stuff where we can and bringing you that news in the most digestible fashion here on Penguins Digest. So, without further ado, let's get into the main topic of today's video. So, first things first, obviously, we have this article from the Hockey News. Penguins first round pick may be a diamond in the rough. So, this was a very interesting article regarding Will Horcoff and where he was picked, how he kind of moved up draft rankings, in the past developmental year. And I think he is going to be a very solid player for the Pittsburgh Penguins if they can develop him properly. There's a lot of raw talent here. We'll discuss it throughout the video. Some scouting reports, some stats, some comparisons, maybe to his dad, longtime NHLer Sean Horcoff. So it'll be interesting to see if the Penguins, because he is huge, 6'4", a huge player, if the Penguins can develop him into something useful for the team, he'll be huge, literally and figuratively, for the squad as we go into the next couple years of Penguins hockey. When we get past maybe this Crosby, Malkin, Letang era, which I know is sad to say, but Will Horcoff might be someone that comes in after that era as already surpassed. So let's get into the article, of course. So first things first, the 6'4", 190-pound center has already made pretty significant strides in a short time. He turned some heads at Prospect Development Camp back in early July. We have a video about that on the channel. And he scored a pair of goals during exhibition games, looked better than expected in terms of skating, and showed off his hockey smarts and ability to evade and push through defenders en route to the net front. Now, he is representing Team USA at the World Junior Summer Showcase, along with fellow Penguins prospect Max Swanson and Brett Kindle for Canada, Harrison Brunick, and Melvin Fenstrom. So a couple guys from the Penguins are at the World Junior Showcase and hopes of receiving an invite to camp ahead of next year's World Junior Championship. So Will Horcoff has actually been decent at the World Junior Summer Showcase. He did have a goal in yesterday's game. If I can pull that up here, he in a loss to Sweden. Unfortunately, the team did lose. Will Horcoff did score, so hopefully he's having a good showcase. He'll be able to represent the team in a higher role at the World Juniors come December and January. And I think it could be huge for the Penguins just to have some more players there. As they get younger, they get better prospects in the system. Being able for the Penguins fans to watch him there will be the main point. Maybe we'll see him. I don't know how many Penguins fans will be watching him in Michigan. Maybe a decent amount now that he's on the team. But the World Juniors does get a lot of eyes on it, and I think he will be very, very solid there. And we do have some more excerpts from development camp where apparently Will Horcoff did take some leadership notes from a player like Sidney Crosby. If we do look at this year, definitely just want to see how the pros train, and this is very important. I got to see Sid. He was out on the ice by himself, and he was in the workout room by himself. So just seeing how hard he works, I can take something away from that back to Michigan. Just seeing Sidney Crosby, I think, would have a huge impact on these young Penguins players from my point of view. Sidney Crosby, obviously one of the best players ever to play hockey. Hall of Famer, first ballot, 3 Stanley Cups. Penguins fans were watching this. You guys know how good Sidney Crosby is. I don't need to go too deep into it, but I think putting Crosby in a position where he can be a mentor, maybe even if it's not like direct mentorship or leadership by actually talking to the guys, but just seeing him, the way he carries himself in the NHL, just a veteran, the guy who knows how to get it done, will be huge for these young guys who are coming into Pittsburgh. Guys like Brett Kindle and mainly Will Horcoff will be huge for that, in my opinion. As we can see, Will Horcoff already mentioned how cool it was and how many notes he took from a guy like Crosby. And I know the Crosby trade rumors have been heightened over the past summer just because there's not a whole lot going on in the hockey world. Something we've been covering on the channel. And maybe he won't get traded. Maybe he will. I know Penguins fans really don't want to see him go. But if he can kind of be that guy to just show the guys the way, learning from Sidney Crosby I think would be huge. And if they can do that with a guy like Will Horcoff, I think that'll just improve his development. Maybe even outside of the on-ice play, just how he carries himself. You know, the mental aspect of the game, which we know is super important. So some other stuff going on with Will Horcoff. We do obviously have his elite prospects scouting report. Defensive dimension stands out as a separator, so he's a solid defensive player. His game is fueled by physical skill and proactive reads, and his range, strength, and subsequent lane clogging further enhances his disruption qualities. Off the back check, he's a Goliath, pressuring puck carriers to the outside, swinging into inside positioning, and leveraging positioning and processing to create stops. Furthermore, he's a skilled playmaker who leverages time and space to break down defenders into overreactions. So obviously, Will Horcoff is a really big center, more of a two-way guy, and you hope these defensive traits could transition more into the NHL. I have talked about this in a former video where I feel like it's more easier to put up a lot of points in these junior or college leagues. But being able to transition your defensive skills is important to have that baseline, because there's a lot of people who can put up points in the NHL, but there's not a lot of people who can play that two-way kind of game. And I think if Will Horcoff can translate that, it will be huge for him, of course. And if we're just looking at this, obviously first-round pick, 24th overall. Currently unsigned as his ELC. I don't really expect him to get it because he's probably not going to play on the team this year. And then obviously, you know, net front presence, physical forward, two-way center. 203 pounds, I believe he bulked up. He was at 185 last year, and I think that's only going to go up. And he's already 6'5" at 18 years old. So, I don't know if he's going to get taller, but it's not out of the question. So, just a super raw talent, good player. And even if we look at his bio from Stephen Ellis here of the Hockey News as well, or Daily Faceoff, sorry. Being big and skilled is great and all, but the biggest downside right now is his footwork, unfortunately. His skating is subpar at best, lacking high and foot speed and four-way mobility. The best power forwards are the ones who are constantly moving, and he just isn't there yet, which I think he will continue to develop. Obviously, he's still super young, but it's hard not to fall in love with this game. He's a raw talent, one who has shown he can adapt no matter the situation. He's competitive, but can put guys through the glass and shoot the puck very well. So, physical presence, which we don't see a lot as much as we want to nowadays. Horcoff's mobility might limit his potential, but he has enough going for him to play physically, and in his bloodline suggests he'll have a solid career. And then he can shoot, make plays, and hit, but he's also a good passer, and he can be caught trying to slow games down too much and not making the right moves to take advantage. If you can figure out how to play with pace, watch out, because he got the intensity element locked in already. So he's an intense player, a lot of raw talent, he's huge. I honestly love this pick for Dubas and co. For the front office in Pittsburgh. Kyle Dubas has been known for drafting smaller skill guys, and Will Horcoff is kind of like an outlier for that. And I think if they can turn him into someone good, I know Tage Thompson is probably comparable. I don't know if he's going to be that kind of player, but if he can get close to it, I think that would be cool. And even looking at his stats here, nothing really drops out of the page at you. Not an insane point getter yet. Maybe in his 15U team, which obviously is not relevant now. But I think in his sophomore season with Michigan, he's going to put up way more points and play way more games. He only had 10 points in 18 games there. But I think this year you'll see a huge production jump from him. He's going to be physically imposing on all the other college players just because he's huge. And I think he's going to grow even more, learn how to use his strength, learn how to use his body more, and become just a more skilled skater. I think it's going to be great for the Penguins. And if he can even get close to someone like his father, who played over 1,000 games and had 511 points, that's basically a win for the Penguins in my books. It's going to be very hard for someone to hit 1,000 games played, but he's seen his dad do it. His dad knows the NHL really well. That could also be a huge, influence on him and how he gets to the league. Knowing the little intricacies of the NHL is super important. So I think that will be good for him, of course. And overall, with the Penguins, I like the direction they're taking. I think Will Horcoff is going to be someone that's going to have Penguins fans excited, especially Penguins fans that might be a little older who love that physical presence in the game. The Penguins did take a lot of smaller skilled guys in the earlier with their earlier picks, a guy like Kindle, who's a little bit smaller, but Will Horcoff, the guy is huge, and I think Penguins fans are going to have a lot of love for him as they follow him throughout his developmental years with Michigan. And then when he comes to the NHL, I think he's going to be a really good player. And I think he'll turn into a solid player as well. I don't know if it's going to be after the Crosby era because his talent is so raw, or maybe he'll get to play with Sidney Crosby. Who really knows? But I think having those guys around as well with the influence from his dad, who was a former NHLer, will turn him into a really good player, and I think he will be, a gem for the Penguins, a hidden gem that they have in their prospect pool. Will be huge for them, and I think he will be very, very solid for the Penguins once he eventually reaches the NHL. So with that being said, everyone, the Penguins, also what's interesting about them, they do want to go young, which is what Josh Yohe said in another article. So Will Horcoff does do that, and I think they're going to progressively get younger, trade away the older players. We've talked at length about Rust, Raquel, Karlsson, those guys who are likely going to be on the move. The Penguins want to really usher in a new generation in Pittsburgh. So I think it's going to be huge for them. Let me know what you guys think of Will Horcoff and how long it will take him to get to the NHL. Did you guys like the pick when it happened, and do you guys think he'll be a solid NHL player with that frame combined with his skill, and maybe his skating will also improve? So let me know, of course, what you guys think. Of course, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Make sure you guys subscribe, and peace out. Have a good one, as always.